誇りの道を行く者に太陽の導きを
What's up? We got The Flash, Season 3, Episode 6, Shade. So this episode starts off with a monologue by Wally, and he's by Wally instead of Barry, because this basically shows Wally speeding around and being Kid Flash, but it's not really him, it's just Wally, and he's basically telling Joe about how they have a name for him. They call him Kid Flash, and he's like, Kid Flash. And he's like, yeah, he's like, he's been having dreams, and like, when they started these having dreams, and he's like, about like a month ago, he's like, Wally, these aren't your powers manifesting, these are like Frankie Kane. It's like Frankie Kane. She started getting her powers, and then alchemy was in her head, then boom, magenta happened. So Wally, yeah. Yeah, so Wally's like, yeah. And yeah, so then we see Julian and Barry, and Barry's like, hey Julian, maybe we can work out again, but Julian's like, yeah, that was only a one-time thing, Alan. So then Joe shows up saying, Wally's starting having dreams about Flashpoint. It's just like, this is not that good. So basically tell Wally, and this scene as one of the worst, laziest writing moments in the entire episode, in the entire show, because they basically tell Wally about how he was having dreams about. So he basically, so he's like, hey, you were the Flash tonight. In Flashpoint, you and Iris were like a 6 brother-sister crime-fighting unit, and there was no Star Labs, no team, no nothing. It was just you and Iris. And he's like, you got her, like, you were fighting the rival, and they're like, Clarice, and they're like, yeah. Who else would it be? And yeah, and it's like, what? Barry's making this up, and Iris is like, Barry, why didn't you tell us any of this? Iris, in episode 2, you told Iris, why'd you keep this from Barry? Well, Iris, Barry, you told Barry you didn't want nothing to do with your Flashpoint lives, so why are you asking him, why would you not tell him about this? Because you basically told him that you didn't want to know anything about your Flashpoint lives. Remember that, Iris? Because the writers didn't. Because if the writers remembered that, they wouldn't have had to ask this question. It's lazy. That's just terrible writing, because Iris basically said that. Barry was like, hey, if you want, Iris was like, Barry, we don't want to know anything about our Flashpoint life. But then in this episode, Barry tells them all, and Iris is like, why didn't you tell us any of this? Iris, you didn't want to know, remembered, in case you forgot. So, yeah. I'm just saying, pointing out the obvious, that was such a cool scene, but the Iris question was just random, because so Barry's like, what if Wally's not telling the truth? And he's like Wally, and he's like Wally, I'm not lying to you. He's like, you don't have to fight my dad's battles for him. Tell me what the truth is, Joe. He's like, the truth is that you just got. So Wally just leaves, and so Wally shows up Joe, and then and he's like, I understand you're protecting. So he decides to. Wally starts having dreams about Flashpoint, so they basically are like, so there's this monster called the Shade that basically killed the guy, so they basically now have to, so HR is like, hey, why don't people will discover, if they look in Star Labs, they will discover that you are working with the Flash. So why don't you have HR become the face of the new Star Labs team? And they're like, HR, in case we haven't, human resources, in case we haven't told you, you look exactly, if you step foot out of Star Labs, people are gonna confuse you for the guy that killed Barry's mom, and you will be arrested. And he's like, you guys, come on, guys, you didn't tell me this. You wanted me to come to this earth, help you guys out. You couldn't bother to let me know that he looks exactly like the guy that killed Barry's mom. And she's like, well, and because like, well, you guys, you didn't tell us that you weren't. You also let us believe that you were some sort of scientist. So yeah, and he's like, and Caitlin basically takes Cisco's cuffs. After Cisco tells them, she has this look on her face like, Cisco's cuffs. So yeah, so HR decides to solve this, of not looking on Karen's Wall's problem by basically using a device that makes him change his face, that makes him look exactly like his partner, Randolph Morgan. And he basically just flashes them all to make them, uses a button on the device to make them think that they're looking at HR, while people outside, other people are gonna think that he looks like Randolph Morgan. So we also see scenes of HR, of Human Resources, flirting with Cecile, and yeah, so Caitlin basically tells Cisco that she's mad, and he basically vibes them fighting each other, but tells her that he saw nothing in the vibe, but then later tells her that it was full on vibe versus kill Shaw. And he's like, we gotta tell people, but she's like, no, we can't. So yeah, so while he's in the pipeline, thanks HR saying that we should keep him in the pipeline until we defeat Alchemy. But then Alchemy starts getting in his head, and then while he gets out and he's about to punch Iris, but then Iris just knocks him back out, and they're like, now they've defeated the Shade. I'm not gonna say the battle. They defeated the Shade. They should focus on Wally. So they decide, let's set a trap by having Wally go exactly to Alchemy. So he's like, what do you wish, Wally? And he's like, I wish all you guys gone. And he's like, it's a trap. And so Barry Joe's about to nail all the alchemy, alchemy, but then a strange ball of light attacked Barry. And he says, who is he? And Barry's like, he says his name, he's Salvador, the god of speed. Yeah. And I'm like, hold up, Salvador, we got another speedster with blue lightning that has some, welcome to the speedster villain logic where they can't just... Okay, so that was the episode. And it was really good and really enjoyable. And yeah, the whole Iris thing of Iris not remembering Barry's, the thing that she told Barry in episode 2 was didn't make any sense. Like, how could you not remember that you didn't want to know about your Flashpoint lives? And you're like, why did you tell us, Barry? Because the writers simply forgot that. Then, yeah. It's just like, come on. But anyway, that was it for this video. And I'll see you next time for more of The Flash.